Just so you know, shop life is not always glamorous. Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm here in the shop trying to get warmed up. It got bitter cold in Texas, but that doesn't stop me from working on the PT Cruiser. Yes, got another episode of PT Cruiser going on here. Got some parts for the front end, transmission stuff, and we're going to do a fuel pump. I'm going to drop the gas tank. Let's put a new fuel pump in. It's almost out of gas, so this shouldn't be too hard. But I'm going to use the lift. Ha! See what kind of magnet that was that fell out of there. An International. I have never seen an International like that. Have any of y'all seen an International that looks like that? I've never seen that. Let's throw that on the garage, the refrigerator. So I decided to do this the hardest way possible. I basically pulled this part. This is where the drive shaft runs in to your, what is that, driver's side. And I pulled these out, and on the back side, this is black RTV that's been put in here, and it was stuck pretty good, so it's got to come out. This is a race for your transmission, and so you got to get that bearing back on there right, and then center it. Yeah. Not too bad, but I was able to get this seal out. This is what the seal looked like that was in it. And this is the seal I have to put back. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's gonna seat. So what I'm gonna do now is this black RTV stuff. I'm taking my zippy thing here and we're getting rid of it. So it's a clean surface, and then I'm gonna press in the new seal and put this back in. You probably shouldn't have to do this, but I was fighting really hard to get this out. Even once I got it on the workbench here and I was hitting at it with a punch from the backside, it was punching holes through. It wasn't letting go. I was fighting me. So yeah, let me get this caught up and we'll get this thing back in. Don't know if you can tell, but there is a drive axle in there. Yep. And I got that in, and then all I did was put this nut back on, and I took my big hammer and pop, and it slides right in and snaps into place. And then same thing with this side. I did not use this Castle nut. I did not hammer on it. I used this old nut that came off the other one. Yeah. Now I need to do the struts so I can get those back together before I get any further. Yeah, got to get those back in there. Okay, so I'm doing the struts now, and I'm no expert in this stuff, so I'm not really videoing anything. All I know is the old strut is out, and the new strut is in. And now what I got to do is take the spring assembly off the top of this strut and the top cap and place it onto this strut. And boy, this is finicky business. I don't know about y'all, but it's just weird. I gotta press down this. There we go. Get rid of that little wire. Don't need that. So I'm using these little spring compressors, and I'm shrinking that spring down as best I can, and then I will take the cap off and yeah, put it on. But this is a lot of juggling, and what I found is the only way you can get this nut off and on this thing when it's down inside that hole, you can't get an open-end wrench on this nut. The only way you can do it is by taking a 1/4-inch drive with a 10 mil. A 10 mil fits the end of the shaft, and then basically this socket slides down over, and you take a pipe wrench to this socket, unless you got a socket that has a hex head on the top. I don't, but then I'm taking the pipe wrench to this socket and unscrewing that. It's a mess. It's just a mess. My hands are dirty. I'm not keeping anything clean. But yeah, nevertheless, it's kind of complicated to get the top of this this strut off. It's not just a nut to just take it off, because this shaft can spin inside of the shock. So if you're unscrewing this, you might just be spinning the shock. So yep. All right, so round 2, compress the spring, get the spring on here, tighten it down, get it set right, and take off. Yeah. All right, let's see what we can do here. Okay, so I'm going to replace the fuel pump. I've dropped the gas tank out of the car, and I got it to here. It's just a strap that's in the way. And I got to the top of the fuel tank. So I had one rubber hose here on this evap system on the side of the tank. I had one rubber hose connection here, and then I had the fuel line connection, and this one plug runs to all the wires. Yeah, so those 4 things, and you can drop your gas tank after you take the straps off, and the filler neck hose and that little straw hose, and it will drop down, and it wants to go to the passenger side and then out because of the exhaust pipe up in there. So that's crazy how close the exhaust pipe is to that fuel tank. But now I have access to my fuel pump. I've got 1, 2, 3 foam pads on top of my fuel tank. This one's real thin. But yeah, I got to get this undone, that hose undone, and I can unscrew and get that changed out. I decided to get myself comfortable because this was turning into work. I had a hammer and a screwdriver, and I was just beating on this thing, trying to get it around, and getting about 1 loop out of it. And it took me forever just sitting here, keep hammering. It's not breaking loose. So this is going to fight me all the way out. And I'm like, how do I, let's get you in here. How do you get a hold of this green ring? There's got to be a special tool, right? And I kind of made one. So if you look closely on top of the ring, there are these little divot thingies. And I basically made this thing out of 1/4 by 20 threaded bolts and ground the tips to where they would, pokey down right inside that hole there, and then come across and poke inside the other side. And now I have a pry bar that I can spin around. And let me see if I can't unscrew this a little faster. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, getting those straps back on and stuff, that is a bear. And I'm working with this thing in the air. It just, the bolts don't want to go. It's a fight the whole time. Got it all back in, it's all good to go. We're gonna drop this thing back down It turns out that this little bad boy right here is that goes in off the top side of the transmission. So I thought it went in through the oil pan, the transmission pan, but it doesn't. So I get the privilege of tearing apart the top side to get down into the transmission to put that sucker on. Yeah, let's change that sucker out. It's gonna be some work. Let's go. Okay, and easy as that, that comes right out. That's a big fat lie. That was the hardest thing I've had to do on this car so far. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I've got the battery back in, I got the battery bracket back in, I got the airbox back in, and I've got one of these little trickle charger thingies that's going to sit on the battery for a little bit, and I'm going to go try and get me some fluids for this transmission because I poured it all out. Yeah, once I get the transmission filled back up, then it's just a matter of test driving it, getting the fluids back where they're supposed to be in the transmission, and going from there. Let's see if this fixes anything. I hope so. In the comments, let me know if there's anything I did wrong. I'm about to find out. Y'all have a good weekend.